They'll have to be charged up, yeah. Oh, there we are. This has a little hook here, and it goes right over this little piece of plastic. It goes right here. Right like that.
Okay.
Right like that. There we go. So take this out, and I get a cup, and right up underneath here, this is my water sample. This valve here is in line, and it goes to the drain, right there. And this one dumps out here. I turn that on. I'm not going to do it, but I turn this on, and I have my cup here, and I fill it up, and I close this, and then I test it using this device, which is real obvious.
Does it test for salinity? Is that what it is?
It's testing for dissolved solvents, which is salt,
Okay.
sodium chloride, potassium chloride, lime. Pretty much that's about everything. Let's see. Yeah, and so I take this off and I stick it in the water, and it gives me a reading, whatever that reading is. And you want it below 500. Ideally, somewhere in the 300 range is probably best, because you need some minerals.
So do you just need like that much water to cover the
Yeah, just to cover it, right. So you got your cup, and you filled it half full. So you just stick it in there.
Okay.
And you can I also then taste it and say, yeah, it tastes good. It tastes like dead fish or whatever.
What about like bacteria and stuff in the water?
Bacteria
Does it take care of that?
Oh yeah, it takes care of that really well.
But we're not testing for that with that stick.
No, this can't test for that. But
And
we
would run it like out in the. That's why the intercoastal waterway wouldn't be a good place to run.
No,
it
because
for.
that just clogs up your filters. It still would filter the water.
Yeah.
It could
Okay.
filter. You could have a sewage outlet 10 feet away,
Right.
and it will give you drinking water. You could pee, and it would
Right.
filter your pee. Something to remember if you're floating in the ocean. Let me turn this off. But those little lights are about. So anyway, that's your. I can't remember if this goes off. I have to turn it off. Yeah, I turned it off. There we go. And so that goes back up here, which I'll later talk to you about some pictures on that.
Okay.
So say you get a reading of 235 here, and then you look at the ppm on this meter, and you get a reading of a higher reading. I would take the hand unit over this. To tell you the truth, this is older, a little older style. That was more accurate. And I had some friends who had brand new ppm meters, and we checked the water, and I was within 10% of them. So you look at both. If this is over 500 and that's $4.99, it's time to change the filter. Or run a little longer and see what happens. So now you're happy with it. You get a rating of 350. You say, okay, that's good. At that point, you say, which tank do I want to fill? Well, the forward tank is completely empty, and that's a 28-gallon tank. So I'll run it for an hour. And that gives me 18 gallons. So say an hour and 20 minutes. And when this says 18, it's usually delivering a bit more than that. So I'm delivering closer to 20. So I never overfill the tanks. You're not going to explode anything, but it's just not a good idea. So run it for about an hour and 20 minutes. Plus, by then this is getting pretty warm, and your engine's running when this is going. You always run your engine when this is going, and so it starts to get kind of warm. So after an hour and a half of running it, turn it off. The other tanks about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. When you fill them, you can monitor those other two tanks pretty easily and see them, and see how long it takes to fill, and make your own notes on it. All right, so we decided we're going to do the front tank. The first thing you do is, let's do the aft tank. It's closer.
Turn the bypass off.
No,
No?
we turn it on
Okay.
that way. Then you turn the bypass.
That makes
Because if
sense,
you have
yeah.
all of these closed,
Then the
yeah, you're going
pressure's-
to get 1,500 pounds in a 40 psi system. It's going to
Okay.
blow something out.
Yeah.
And so now the tank is, you run it for the time that you want. You go ahead and you do this for the bypass. Turn this back off. Then you wait, pause a little bit. And you turn this slowly back down to 0. Never turn the thing off when it's pressurized.
Okay.
It will damage the system. So you turn it back down to 0. You turn off the main pump. You wait a minute, and you turn off your booster pump. That's it.
Does that handle for the pressure? Does it? It looks like a screw. Will it keep going? I mean, how do you know where to start it at? And where
It
zero?
stops right here.
Okay, okay.
And you've gone counterclockwise. And then you go this way and you start turning it. And little by little, it brings the pressure up.
Okay.
And it will you just keep doing that till it's, but make sure you start off
Start it off
with
at 0.
with 0, which means it's all the way back to that,
Okay.
right there.
Okay.
What else is there in here? And that's about everything in here.
Why did you put the little space maker thing over the engine cowling there, like a cowling?
Well, here, this?
Yeah.
Oh, just to keep any stray water or
off the engine.
or if a tool fell down here, because this is something I made up.
Yeah.
You know, even though I've got these covered and everything else, I just feel better, particularly since if there were a leak,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want this beast
Yeah,
to
that
get
makes
wet.
sense.
So
Now,
what
is that? What is that white vent hose behind the filter over there?
Here,
Yeah.
that is the filler hose for the mid tank.
Oh, okay. From the deck, the
Yeah.
deck fill.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes back in. I'm gonna look at this. It doesn't go like that. It goes like this, as I recall. Yeah, and that goes up there, and this goes on here. Yeah, there you go. Like that.
What's that other water hose there? Yeah, that
This,
one.
that's the vent.
Oh, that's the vent. Okay.
That's the vent, and the other one is the filler.
Okay.
So they're
For the tank, not for the.
not yet for the tank. This is not associated with the
Yeah.
Watermaker itself.
Okay.
I always check it because I get nervous, even though it's never been a problem. This is your intake here.
Oh.
It says clean every 40 hours of operation or seasonally, whichever comes first. And that's this filter here. You unscrew it. Okay, I won't do that.
How do you clean that?
It's just a visualize a cylinder with a whole bunch of holes in it.
Yeah.
It takes out the seaweed, basically.
You clean it off.
Yeah, you just hose it off or rinse it off in the sink or whatever you want.
think
That works.
found-
You'll find these throughout the boat. You know what they're for?
No.
If you got a hole,
Oh yeah, button.
shove them up.
Yeah.
And I got some big ones and little ones and so forth. Similar one. This is for your speed.
That's the
Temperature.
transducer.
Yeah, not the transducer, but speed and temperature
Okay.
goes
And so
there.
if that ever failed or broke.
Yeah,
then-
or if you have to service it, you take that out, you put this in. You can do
Yeah.
that while the boat's in the water. You get a little
You
water.
gotta be quick.
Yeah, you get quick. You say, time for a break.
Yeah, we
now."
watched YouTube videos
Union
where they
rules.
do
I gotta
that.
quit. Now, to pickle this, you have to take this out and replace it with a longer hose that goes into a 5-gallon bucket of pickling solution.
Oh, okay. So then
And-
it pulls it in from that bucket instead of down.
Yeah,
into the
exactly.
vehicle.
And as it happens, somewhere down here,
Is there a seed top to close?
yeah, there's a little hole right here. It's closed right now, which is, you don't want to open that until you depickleize this thing.
And-
When you're ready to depickle it, then you open
Then-
it. And that's the through hole. And I also have a wooden bung there too, if you need one. See, they're around. And this sort of has some general directions on how to pickle. So I keep that here. Note that this hose is here, and I'll tell you the story about that when the time comes. And you can keep a few odds and ends in there.
What were you going to
When you fill the water tanks, do
Yes.
you try to balance them in any particular way because of weight distribution?
I generally do. I'm usually, I usually take the bow first, then I'll take the stern. I like to work mostly, though, off the mid tank, filling and emptying the mid tank, because there's a lot of junk over on this side. My tool's over here, so your tool's over here, sorry. So that kind of keeps the boat a little bit, it kind of sits a little bit to starboard anyway. But I empty and fill this just because it's so easy to monitor. You just look under those cushions. You'll see that the stern tank is not too much worse. It's a little bit bigger cushion to lift up and look underneath, but you can do that. This is the hardest one to monitor. So,
especially if you had your 120 cans of.
Yeah, there, forget about it. I just say, okay, yeah, it's empty now, so I'm going to run it for an hour and a half. Or an hour and 20 minutes, and hopefully it works. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you try to rotate them?
Yes, I don't let one sit too
Right.
much longer, but that's a really good question. Yeah, you want to rotate them around.
'Cause you don't want it to get stagnant.
You're not racing the boat, so it's not that critical if you got the aft tank full or the fore tank full. Or if you really are concerned about it, you take a half a tank there and a half a tank here, and then you run the Watermaker for 45 minutes on each end and do it that way. So the actual startup procedure for that is everything I showed you there, but you have to turn on the circuit breaker
Over there.
underneath that seat. And when we get to that, I'll talk to you about that. But you may want to, since this is focusal and this is starting.
I'm going to stop this now and we'll do